We're now on day 13 of what officials in the Canadian capital of Ottawa are calling an occupation.
They must tell this world what they're going to do before they do it.
So first off, who are you?
I'm just some guy who owns a truck. My name is Benjamin Dichter. I am, I guess, the spokesperson, one of the board members of the Freedom Convoy. And I was brought in, I guess, 24 hours after they just decided to go with this. Chris and Bridget and Tamara in Alberta. Tamara's been a friend of mine for many years, and they decided they're going to do a convoy.
What exactly is the purpose of the protest?
Two things: to end the mandates on vaccinations, because, and by the way, I'm vaccinated. I'm fully vaccinated, and I usually get the flu vaccine every year. So when we're doing the anti-vax thing, sorry, that's not us.
The following footage is from the Australia Occupied protests. I know this footage is going to be used in the American media to fuel the fire and cause problems, so when I spotted a few things on it that to me showed that this video was not authentic, I felt the need to get this information out to you as quick as possible. When you watch this footage, and again, it took me about 3 or 4 times to really notice this, I was looking for signs that would be, say, of people smiling or doing things that wouldn't be consistent with that of people in that current situation, if they're getting attacked or whatnot by the police. And I did find just that. So when you see it, and you see this person smiling, then you know that this is a fake, fraudulent event. Now, other things that I've also noticed is the fact that the people are separated by a fence around them, as like these are a bunch of actors, but then the real people are outside those fences. You can see them quite clearly in the video. So it's like they were separating a stage, if you will, for the actors and for this event to be videoed. And again, it's pretty violent looking. They're pretty violent with the people, but you'll notice it's on dirt, so it's not like they're being thrown on concrete. It's pretty soft. So there's these little clues, and just like I said, the fact that the person is smiling in this crowd that's being attacked shows you that they broke character at that point, and that's all you need to know.
So this is Zuccotti Park, formerly known as Liberty Square, apparently. It's very appropriate. And this is the scene where, in the early hours of this morning...
David Icke. Pretty well-known individual. Pretty high profile. So therefore, some of you are having a hard time understanding that when I outed him for being Sir Richard Branson, you had a difficult time seeing it. So I'm going to show you some solid evidence, some solid proof. Not only do they look alike, and not only do they match the facial landmarks, but they sound alike, And they have another common bond between them both that I think you'll find pretty interesting. So in addition to that, he is a Sir Richard Branson, so he's loyal to the Queen. Remember that because it comes into play later on with someone else.
The Occupy protesters were removed by the police, and this place is crawling with police. And that bloody whistle they bloody have, I don't know, keeps them happy, I suppose.
And make sure you take note of the fact that he's talking on a set. These people that are walking in the background, the extras, they don't have any direction of where they're going, so you can tell that they're on cue to walk in the background and they really have nothing to do. So the fact that they're looking in the cameras, it's obvious that this is a staged set, but that's besides the point. So let's go back to what we're looking at.
Let's see what's going on. Disgusting history has cost the lives of hundreds of millions, if not billions of people because of the effect the decisions and the gambling and the manipulation and the corruption in this place has had on the lives of some of the poorest people on planet Earth. No wonder people are sick of it.
Ask Dave if he accepts credit cards on his video sales. Hypocrite. Of course he does. So he supports the banking system as much as anybody else. So read through his bullshit. Now you know he's fake. But let's see who he's actually associated with now, since you know that he's Branson. And you're going to see some individuals in this video that are family members, and you'll get a better understanding of who Sir Richard Branson really is.
You were here from what? September 17th?
Yeah, I got here the very first night.
What made you come to start with?
Now listen to how she speaks, the pattern of her voice, and what she's actually saying. And remember an individual that we've already exposed during the 9/11 Pentagon footage. See if you can't figure it out.
Just the system is so screwed up. I don't even know where to start. You know, there's so many issues.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to come here to try to make a change somehow.
At least making a statement that we're not having it, yeah, or that we know that the system is what it is.
Right, exactly.
That's a start, isn't it?
Yes.
So what's it been like being here through this period?
Things changed so much. In the beginning, we were a small group. I think we were about 60 people the first night.
Right.
And we made it through the first couple nights. We stayed awake all night, so we were up for days because we weren't sure what was going to happen.
The alert sign, it went in the new wedge, the old wedge. I couldn't find it, so I asked somebody with a military uniform, and he said, "Oh, this building's so safe. We don't post that." So I felt very comfortable in here. Where another.
So it didn't really look like a structure, so it didn't get kicked down. But all my neighbors always got kicked down. So we really fought for that space, and
happen in America. I guess it does. I was concerned that I was going to die, and I didn't know what to do. People were hurt around me. I didn't know what I was going to do. I felt guilty.
People, especially in the beginning, like the first rainstorm, we were trying to make it through that, and we were just trying to cover the computer.
If you've watched my last documentary, you'll know who Alyssa Bloomberg is. She's married to Kenny Bloomberg. Alyssa's half-sister is Jennifer, who is pictured next to her. Jennifer's brother is Tony Greenberg. So Jennifer, Tony, and Alyssa, their father is Michael Greenberg. Michael Greenberg is the son of Maurice Greenberg, the ex-CEO of AIG. Now remember Jennifer, because she's going to come into play later on in this video, and you're going to be surprised at who she also plays, and it's going to make a lot of sense when it comes to the attacks that people have been making on my work, because you're going to find out who's behind those attacks.
Needs to go. That's the thing. And if you don't understand the game, then you become manipulatable. When you know the game, and they say, pushing you to call for world government and stuff to overcome the banks, then you go, but the world government's exactly what you've been working for hundreds of years for. So,
now you heard what he just said. These people have been planning this for hundreds of years to try to get a World Bank or the one world government. They've been working hard at doing this, at collapsing the economies of major countries. And the person that he's standing with is one of the family members that he's discussing. He knows it's her, Of course he does. He's part of this thing. So, you know that now. Now listen to what she says. She's one of these people, the family that are doing this. Just listen to what she says about the World Bank. And remember, AIG, her grandfather, Maurice Greenberg.
You can see that you're being pushed in a direction that those you're protesting against want. But if you don't know the game, you can think, yeah, world government, good idea, stop the banks. And you then demand what the bloody banks want.
And you'd be really surprised when you drop the name World Bank, how many people didn't even know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's shocking, really.
So you have figured this out, correct? Remember, this is Sir Richard Branson. Sir. His loyalty is to the Queen. Let's skip ahead to the next person.
It was all in my wallet. Right now I'm a vagrant and apparently I can go to jail because I have no identification.
What happened last night, mate?
It's fucking ridiculous.
What happened last night?
Last night I'm sleeping in my tent and at about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Now, unless you're from Philadelphia like I am, you might not have picked up on this accent here. This is a South Philly, Marcus Hook, Chichester, somewhere around there. That's one of those accents. It's not Jersey, it's not all Philly, it's a little bit outside of Philly. But this is one of the Jackass, MTV Jackass crew. And you're going to be surprised at who he is.
I heard screaming and yelling and all kinds of shit, commotion, people screaming, cops running around in riot gear.
Did you catch that micro-expression? Micro-expression is a small fraction of a second that your face will respond to a question being asked to you, or as you're speaking you'll realize something and you will react to the thought inside of your head and make an expression so quick that you don't even realize you're making it. So let me play it for you again, just to see if you can pick up on it.
I heard screaming and yelling and all kinds of shit, commotion, people screaming, cops running around in riot gear, chasing people. They were smoking cigars, laughing.
Well, the cops were.
The cops were.
Yeah.
And like they're telling us to get out, leave here, and they're gonna get a very.
It was such a pain in the ass when we had a window because, you know, we locked the keys in the car.
Yeah, that's Bam Margera from Viva La Bam, his own TV show on MTV, and also from Jackass. Remember him because we're going to talk about him in a little bit. He plays an even bigger role in this.
The time, and then we just have to like just break the window. It works out. I mean, when it rains, it sucks, but you get over it.
Here, my wallet, my medication for my PTSD.
See this guy here? He's the brother of the guy that was arrested on the Brooklyn Bridge during the beginning of this event. They have another brother that plays an important role in this event, and I'll talk about him in a moment.
They are people who think they have power, but they have no power whatsoever. They are merely animating a uniform which has the power, which is an extension of the state. And when they take the uniform off or get another job, they have no power. Someone else comes in, takes it on, and the uniform still is the power.
Notice the references to acting as the person puts on the costume or the uniform and he acts like he has power, and then he takes it off and somebody else puts on a uniform and they act like it. Well, he's talking about acting here, and this is a set.
And they're in prison too. I mean, you know, they are themselves, they have children, they have grandchildren, and their kids are going to have to live in the world that they're helping to enforce. And when the penny eventually drops, and it is in some of them, that that's what they're doing. They're going to be bloody horrified. And then there's the other kind of police now, where they use things like biometric testing, which are like job application forms that glean someone's personality. And they're looking for the psychopaths and the narcissists.
See this guy in the background here? You're going to see him in another photograph. The Jefferson Memorial fake arrests with Adam Kokesh. Yeah. You want to doubt that I have a photographic memory for faces? I spot these things all the time. They're all over the place, especially when they're staged events. you can tell and you know that if it's a staged event, they're going to have all their family members and friends and the same individuals in the backgrounds making up the extras.
It's just, I feel like they're just trying to get everyone, scare people.
There are several things I want you to notice in this screenshot. First, the back of his hand. You can clearly see the prosthetic that's been applied to make his hand look swollen. And underneath, you'll see the markings of post-production work done to his pinky to make his finger look bent. This is how he pulls off the claims of arthritis when he plays, of course, David Icke. When he plays Branson, he doesn't have the prosthetic and his hand looks normal. The second thing I want you to notice is the person that he's talking to.
Times one voice comes up as like the more powerful voice.
Notice the hand gestures.
You know, especially when the billions of dollars came.
This is Ryan Dunn's grip for the TV show Proving Grounds, which I exposed earlier. And the third thing I want you to notice is the police officer in the middle of the frame, the rather small police officer. That's Wee Man from Jackass, making another cameo.
Scare people, and they want to cut down the numbers. I don't know. I mean,
well, I think they're doing two things. They're trying to scare and intimidate people, and they're also trying to trigger people to get so freaking angry that
they want martial law.
They want to fight. They want the violence, so that they can then problem, reaction, solution, introduce their martial law. Exactly.
So do you think it's a coincidence that the camera just happens to be set up on the spot where Wee Man is standing right in the background, dead center in the middle of the frame, and he just so happens to be talking to a Jackass member, and Tony Greenberg is standing alongside of him? If that just in itself doesn't convince you that David Icke is part of this whole scam, then nothing will be.
People, get rid of them, make life really bad for them so that they I can't stand this anymore and they go home. And also trigger other people to start violence, or of course put their own bloody uniforms in civilian clothes to start the bloody violence and claim it's bloody protesters. We've got this real kind of contrast here. Over there is the park where all the protesters have been, and over here is staff, it seems, from Brown Brothers Harriman. I mean, if you look at it, look at the size of the frickin' building. Brown Brothers Harriman are one of the major Illuminati banks of the last, going back to the 1800s, and they're having their picture taken here. This is the kind of 1% that the people are talking about, and you know, while people are suffering and people are losing their homes and are going into the streets.
You are talking directly to the family members, to the 1%ers, and getting advice from them and broadcasting it like your little propaganda to the rest of the world so they can all get messed up as well as these people are. So, David Icke exposed. And just like all the other fake events that I've been investigating, we got the tie into Pima again. Pima County Graphic Service Department. Mr. David Weber.
It's a damp New York morning. It's November the 16th, and it's one day before the 2-month anniversary of the occupation here in the park. It's down the road from Wall Street, and it's one day after the police raid on the camp and the court decisions that say, yeah, people can come here and protest during the day. But they can't stay overnight, and they can't take anything in there that constitutes. Okay, it's an increasingly wet day in New York. Here we are in the park, and with me is Luke Rudkowski of We Are Change New York, who we met last year when I was here, and he's done a great job and doorsteps famous people and puts questions to them that other people won't do.
You know, Luke, I've often wondered how you were able to get so close to those officials that you give the tough questions to without their security pouncing all over you. So I thought about it for a while and pulled up some pictures of you and looked at your ears to see if I could see traits in somebody who I suspected was your father. Yep. This is why you can get so close to these individuals without getting pounced on. Notice Putin's ears. You notice the lobe of his ear? It's stretched because he's older. Look at Luke's ear. It's the same exact ear. He's got the same traits as his father does, except his lobe is not as stretched because he's younger. Look at Putin's picture when he was younger. Look at that earlobe. It's the same as his son's. And if you couldn't tell, this is a green screen they shot this with. Notice the green haze on the guy's hair on the right-hand side.